on the street. Welcome to another episode of the program. This morning we're going through some of the front page of the newspaper. Pick all the selected stories on the front page of the newspaper in our usual way. In the next segment of the program, we'll be engaging the bystanders, collect their views as regards some of the selected topics on the front page of the newspaper. Hi, I'm the regular Uncle Yekin Abidemi. Don't go nowhere. Welcome back. This morning I'll be starting with the Punch newspaper. And on the front page of the Punch newspaper, we have why federal government can't remove fuel subsidy. Now, NNPC, marketers, experts. It will be disastrous to remove subsidy without refineries working. That is coming from IPMA. Subsidy now political matter. All Nigerians should win it, says LCCIDG. No provision in 2022 budget, but petrol subsidy continue, declares NNPC. You can read more on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Federal government to spend 44.64 billion naira on military equipment, arms and ammunition. Read more on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Son, that is the senior advocate of Nigeria, Right Malami, threatens suits over Nigeria, $62 billion with oil firms. Read more on page 38 of the Punch newspaper. Change of guard imminent in 2021. Throw away 1999 constitutions. That is coming from Pastor Bakari. Can read more on that on page 36 of the Punch newspaper. Presidency. Dr. back north. Tinubu says restructuring a must. Read more on that on page 37 of the Punch newspaper. Special salary, paying education students, unsustainable Greek gifts, MPTA. You can read more on that on page 8 of the Punch newspaper. Students merciless beating. Kwara order Arabic school head suspension raises panel. Read more on that on page 36 of the Punch newspaper. NDLEA raids Lagos, Oyo, drug joint orders arrest. 108 declares. Read more on that on page 4 of the Punch newspaper. Man arrested for allegedly defiling 13-year-old neighbor's daughter as wife goes for vigil. Read more on that on page 5 of the Punch newspaper. And on to the next one, we have the Nigerian Tribune. Of the Nigerian Tribune, we have how Nigeria can improve maize production through AFCFTA. Read on that on page 13 of the Nigerian Tribune. Autumn, how you split North as 8 fights for PDP chairmanship, leaving presidency ticket open. In PDP, research for disaster. That's coming from Bode George. Can read on page 23 of the Nigerian Tribune. How debt service low revenue threatening 2022 budget. Read more on that on page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune. 2022 budget, state house operations to go up 24 billion naira. 1.6 billion naira for vehicles, replacement, spare, international travel. 1.53 billion. 400 million proposed for Villa telecom infrastructure replacement. VP's office gets 1.1 billion naira. Read more on that on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune. Fresh controversies over Supreme Court sanction $62 billion oil money. Filer not to sue federal government over enforcement. Read more on that on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune. 15 billion revitalization fund. Strike rooms in Polytechnic. We are fed up with federal government's non-response, says ASU, that is Academic Staff Union of Polytechnic. Women on that on page 25 of the Nigerian Tribune. 9 killed in Ibadan highway auto crash. You can read more on that on page 20. That is a very pathetic story over there. You can read more on that on page 23 of the Nigerian Tribune. Keyamon Ojugbo will reject APC ward local government congress zoning. Read more on that on page 24 of the Nigerian Tribune. And the earlier dismantled drug joint in Lagos, Oyo Kwara, arrest 101 dealers. Details on page 26 of the Nigerian Tribune. This is all We'll be moving on to the next episode or segment of the program where we'll be engaging the bystanders, collect their views as they see through some of the selected topics on the front page of the newspaper. We'll be right back. Constitution is a glorified certificate. It calls for total abolitions of the 1999 constitutions. Looking at considering the contentious issues in the 1999 constitution, as we all know, there we have some gray areas where we have things like judicial autonomy and all other things. Do you actually subscribe to the ideas of this of Pastor Bakari, or do you think all we need is a mere or is just an amendment of the 1999 constitution?
Bakari, as a person, as a citizen, speak out his mind, and the constitution as you know it, we do constitution at a neutral time when it concerns nobody. But in Nigeria are not respecting the constitution. That's the area Bakari is making sense. You understand me? Above all, you should understand about constitution. Constitution is nobody's business, but it's for us all. The law is being made when nobody has committed the offense. But when we committed the offense, we start to amend it. On what ground? So here in Nigeria, the way I look at this, or some group are doing things, it's not preferring for the commoners in particular. And then Bakari is speaking the mind of the commoners, the way I look at it. So what I'm trying to say, let us go back to the drawing board and do right. I can't say that this baboon go to work, monkey go to shop here in Nigeria. 1963 constitution makes that you work and then you benefit. But now when you work, some other person benefit. For instance, here we can see that about 83% of oil well is into the hands of a people. Remaining the other 17% for others. It is not fine for the commoner. So what I'm trying to say today that if Nigeria said that we should continue moving forward as a nation, as a country with one voice, we should believe our constitution. The judiciary give them power, exactly. The lawmakers give them power, and then the president give them power. So that everybody have to mind his own. Everyone is autonomous. You cannot, we cannot be intimidating the other or suppressing the other, which is improper in a country like this. So in other words, Nigeria should go forward. We should go forward with the standard of constitution and then stand by it. Thank you very much.
Okay, do you think working strictly adherence to the provisions of the constitution, do you think the 1999 constitution is sufficient enough to hold the unity of this country when you look at the gray areas? Now, the 1999 constitution vested so much power in the executive, that is the executive, that is the president. Considering what we have in the exclusive list, some of the provisions that put an overwhelming power on the president, do you think the 1999 constitutions should stay? There is no reason for amendment whatsoever, looking at what Pastor Bakari is calling for.
Constitution made a vacuum by itself. There will be a time for amendment. If need be, we have to amend it, because the constitution is for human being, it's not for animals. And then there's no autocracy, particularly for a particular country. At least it should be,
Okay, but well, let's look at this. Let's take a quick look at this. Federal government to spend 44.64 billion on military equipment, arms, and ammunition. Federal government is injecting a lot of money into building the military arsenals in this country. Try to make sure that the membrane, the walls surrounds our defense remain tight. Now, considering this now, people believe that the federal government, particularly the president, has decided to favor some part of this country, while some cross-sections of this country believe that the president is biased and parochial. What is your take as regards that?
This is two questions together, but I will answer them in accordance exactly. The president is somehow marginalizing some people, some group of people in this very nation. If the 1999 constitution give much power to the president, it's sweet that we are inside this country, we say, my man, this position you are taking, you are overstepping your band, all right? And then in terms of security, I support security. But if at all that we are seeing that people are dying in hunger, and then we are not fighting anybody, we cannot take all our money and invest it only in military equipment alone.
Okay, let's take a look at what the presidential speech at Independence. The president talks about him and the federal government knowing some sponsors, people behind Nnamdi Kanu, encouraging his agitations for secession, and talking about people sponsoring Sunday Igboho, supporting his agitation exercise. But President failed to talk about the sponsors of Boko Haram. People believe that the list of these sponsors has been released to the federal government, but it appears that Mr. President has turned a deaf ear.
This is where we talk about favoritism or partiality. If I thought the president will speak about Nnamdi Kanu and Sunday Igboho without speaking the sponsors of Boko Haram, is unfair for the commoners, because the people is leading are also elite, all right? And then having said this, what about Nnamdi Kanu issue? One can, express his feeling if he had been displeased. One, you can understand that is here in Nigeria. Before 1914, there was no Nigeria. Nigeria has to be from 1914. And then above all, is it the Northern Protectorate we are asking for independence, or we are asking for coming together, or the southwest, or the southeast? Well, if I thought it's not the southeast or southwest or north, we have. If we disintegrate, there's no problem there. Above all, if we disintegrate today, what do we lose? And then if we are together, what do we gain? Because if we disintegrate, we have to work hard. All right, because before 1914, the Yorubas were not looking for coming together, neither the Igbos or the Northern, but the white colonial master said we should be together, and it's being together, it benefiting nobody. Working come, they work, and then baboon got a shop. You understand? Even now the can't fail to succeed. Some other person will come. There will be a time Moses will come for the people, and then they will succeed. Israelite were in the land of Egypt for 430 years, and then one time they left that country. So this country cannot be answering one country, whereas other people will be eating, the other people will be working. But this is what I have for that issue.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
I think it's a good welcome development. As per this constitution amendment, what it is. But to me personally, I think constitution amendment is very good. In the sense that the constitution that we are operating now, it has already covered many things, and then many atrocities. It causes a lot of many atrocities in aspect of our finance and other things and the securities. But if we can adjust our constitution, everything will be okay.
You think what we need is amendment, not a total sponge or total abolitions of the 1999 constitution?
Abolitions cannot work. The best thing is to review the constitution and to amend it to level our taste, to level of we masses. Because this constitution now we are still operating, is advantageous to the people at the top. It's advantageous to the people at the top. Are you getting what I'm saying? But if you can amend it, everything will be okay. You are going to have a social, political, as well as economic balance.
Okay, but are you equally aware that the federal government of Nigeria gave 2 million and 2 billion, 1 billion each to the legislative chamber, talking about the two bicameral legislative chambers at the federal level, 1 billion for the Senate and 1 billion for the House of Representatives for the amendment of the 1999 constitutions, but we are not seeing any. No, it appears there is no significant change at all, looking at how the constitution has been for years.
Well, the legislative chambers, it cannot help our economy, but what we are after is economic balance. Dedicate billion plus billion. No, what we need to do is to energize all the sectors of our economy. But every day we will have a achievable. Thank you.
This one we shall be drawing courses on today's episode of Review on the Street. The next one we shall be coming on your screen. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page, Heritage TV, and I can also be our friend on Facebook, Heritage TV. I am Yakin Abidemi. I'm my cameraman Akintola Ibrahim.